really love stage singing, Marcella and Wayne. And the really interesting thing is that the poet who's going to be up here later, Nishan, is a good friend of mine, and we've had some pretty amazing adventures together. But the last time I was here, I got to share some of my poetry, and it turned out it was pretty inspiring in terms of sharing some of the stuff that I've been through. So how many of you know what a NDE is? Raise your hand. Not many? Okay, it's called a near-death experience. Interestingly enough, I was having a conversation earlier about what qualifies for a near-death experience, because there's people who've been in car accidents and it's been a close call, but usually a near-death experience has to do with the fact that there's a spiritual aspect where one's attachment to this world is separated spiritually. It's like, oh, look, there's that there, like clothing on the floor. No big deal. I've had 3 near-death experiences in my life. Now, usually one is enough for most people. The first one I had when I was a small child. The second one I had when I was in the 2nd grade. So at that time I was about 7 years old. And then the third one I had when I was a senior in high school. And I've said if I have another one of these, just forget it. It's too much work to come back. So because of these experiences, I've had some pretty amazing stuff happen in my life. I grew up Catholic, and I was very blessed to have a mother who saw that her child was a little bit different than everyone else. We had a ghost that lived in our house. His name was Mikey. Mikey liked to steal ballpoint pens. I don't know why. And he also liked to open and shut the front door. So my dad didn't believe in any of that kind of stuff. So he said it's the pressure difference. You know, when the wind blows through the house, the front door, you shut the front door and it pops the back door open. So that was my dad trying to explain away the things that were going on in the house. So one day he got tired of this and got deadbolts. Do you know what deadbolts are? You know, key it and that sucker shuts. The front door still goes open and closes. So he had to finally concede that there was something more to the world than just air popping the door open and closed. But anyway, with my experience, the bigger one is the one I want to talk to you about, was when I was in the 2nd grade. Now, when you're in the 2nd grade and you're 7 years old, you don't exactly have the vocabulary for stuff that happened. But I had double pneumonia plus bronchitis, which means both my lungs were filled with fluid. And I had a temperature between 106 and 108 for a week. So the doctors told my mom and dad that my brain at those temperatures was boiling and most likely I would be in a vegetative state. So I didn't understand what the big deal was when I woke up, because as far as I was concerned, you know, you go to bed one night, you wake up the next day, you don't know that an entire week has passed, you just woke up. The only thing that my child mind knew that it was really amazing was the fact that my parents said, and I quote, "You can have any toy you want." I was like, wow, that's better than Christmas. Because at Christmas you can ask for something, but you don't always get it. So because I had to be in the hospital for a week, and I had allergies, I got a stretch monster, you know, because my brother had stretch man, so I couldn't have him. It was the only thing I could cuddle in the hospital. But the amazing thing about this journey is that I came back with stuff that has taken the rest of my adult life to put into words. I came back with colors in my brain that don't exist here, emotions, and a language called frequencies. I don't know if any of you know much about physics, but everything vibrates at a particular frequency. All atoms vibrate on a frequency, all kinds of stuff. So the stuff the floor is made out of vibrates at a frequency. Human beings have electromagnetic frequencies, and we vibrate at particular frequencies. And I came back with this wordless language, and it took me a very long time to be able to find the word frequencies. But as a result, I have had just the most amazing things happen. And movies have been some of the best things for me. How many of you have seen What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams?
It's really, really wonderful.
Okay, if you've never seen that movie, it's
Um,
fantastic. Okay, so for those of you kids in the audience and parents with kids, how about The Never-Ending Story? How many? I went to this place called the In-Between Place, because that's what my child minds called it, you know? I didn't have words. And the In-Between Place is very much like, it goes on forever, like the never-ending story. As far as the imagination goes, if you can keep imagining, you can keep going. And there's two ways that you can get around in the In-Between Place. You can walk across the room, or you can think about here and suddenly you're there. So just to give yourself an idea, I want you to hold up your fingers like this. Okay? And I want you to think about your left fingertip right here. Okay? I want you to look at it and really think about it. Now switch your mind to the other finger. That's how you get there. It's like 2 points in your own body, and the only thing that you're doing is you are shifting your attention to the other place because you're already there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kind of ticks me off how I can do that in my dreams, and when I wake up, I don't have my superpowers anymore. Does anyone else have that? But so that's one of the ways that you can travel there. But the other thing that's really, really amazing is that the in-between place is right where we are sitting. But it's vibrating higher and faster than we are. And so we just can't see it. So this incredible, beautiful, amazing place is exactly where you are right now. And that's one of the neatest things that I came back with, that you don't have to go anywhere to get to it. You're already there. There's also another amazing movie called Powder. And Powder is this amazing voice, and he's with a woman who's dying, and he's there when she passes, and they ask, what happened? He goes, well, she didn't go up, she just went out. And I'm like, yes, someone got it right. Yes, yes. And it made me so happy because movies have a way of explaining and sharing things that every time I find another piece, I'm like, okay, I can use that. But the other thing I found, because I teach near-death, I talk to people about death and dying experiences at Metro, UCD, CCD, all the front range classes on death and dying. And one of the most amazing things that I have found is that from all these experiences that I've had is just telling people that all the stuff that you've ever felt, you didn't make it up. It's real. And for some reason that's comforting to people to know that, you know, well, when Aunt Becky passed, I really kind of felt like she was there, you know? And it's really, you know, my dad talked about it when my grandmother passed. He's like, he saw, like, my grandmother had walked right behind him and saw the shadow, except for there was no one there, or smelling the perfume, or what they smelled like. And the thing is that nobody's gone. There's no such thing, and I really didn't quite understand this till my own grandfather passed away, and I became aware of something amazing.